There's no such thing as an evil turkey.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Cheap Seat Critics podcast, where this week we are covering ThanksKilling and continuing our weird Halloween fall combo season. With me today, we have.
Hello, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Sprinks. And hey, if you're listening from, I don't even know where this took place.
Filmed in Ohio.
London, Ohio. That's where this takes place?
Filmed
Oddly,
in Ohio.
Oh, filmed in Ohio. I heard London, Ohio. Okay, in Ohio, all our fans in Ohio, you can find us over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blueski, TikTok. We also have a LetterBoxd where we have our averaged out numbers and graphs of whatever it is we have covered. We also have visual side of things over on YouTube and Rumble, but maybe not your cup of tea. Don't worry, we got tons of audio platforms out there as well.
All right, well put, Sprinks. I think for this, we will start with our histories, and we'll start with Sprinks.
Oh boy, me first. I was introduced to this movie by watching I think I saw it in entirety, watching a commentary reaction video to this film from beginning to end. And I thought nothing of it at the time. That was back in like 2014, 2015, something like that. And then over the course, that was just something I've known, something Crimson's known, and we've chatted about. I don't think Ryder's ever been into the conversation of it, but just like over back and forth and back and forth until the podcast, this episode today, where I sat down and watched it for the first time, like all the way through on my own doing. So technically, I've seen this movie twice.
Awesome. I'll go next, and kind of similar to you, I saw like a commentary video specifically from Achievement Hunter. They had a series where they watched cheap movies, and this was one of them. And that's how I experienced it. Since seeing that, I've seen a few bits and pieces every now and again online, but also like Sprinks for the podcast, first time by myself watching it for the podcast. Ryder, you're up.
Yeah. My history with this movie is also fairly familiar with it through Achievement Hunter as well. I don't think I watched their commentary of it, but I have seen the trailer for this before. It came across my desk, as it were, one day. Never had any interest really. It was fun to watch other people. At least it was fun to watch Jim Hunter cover it and chat about it. And I had completely forgotten about it until it came up again for the podcast. But this is technically my first full time through the movie, by myself as well, because this movie is, I think, a lot more fun in person with drinks.
So I was like getting a little confused. So the Achievement Hunter thing, you didn't watch their watch through, but you heard their commentary and like other stuff referencing it.
Yes.
Like a trailer
Okay.
for theater mode, but never actually watching the episode.
And probably mentioning it on like off topic and other stuff.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. All right, we'll move into the facts section, and I was able to find a budget for this. I was surprised, and it's also, I think, the lowest we've mentioned. I'm sure we've done cheaper with like our short season. I'm sure one of those is probably cheaper, but the budget for this was $3,500. So not a lot, but I don't think any of us would be surprised by that either.
Nope.
Definitely not.
All right, so we'll start with the interesting facts found on the internet, blah blah blah, spiel stuff. Uh, so the central
Wait,
tagline of
whoa, 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 whoa,
gobble
whoa, whoa. What do you mean
gobble
spiel
blah blah
stuff?
blah blah. Spiel stuff, Sprinks. That's what I said. I'm hosting. Get over it.
Sorry, audience, if this is your first episode.
Central tagline of gobble gobble mother effer. But I didn't say it like that. Was thought of before the movie was written. I'm not too surprised by that. It seems like some some guys throwing around some stupid stuff, and they're like, "That's a great idea. Work off of that."
I can see that. Yeah.
No one wanted to distribute the film, so the filmmakers sold the DVD on Amazon and took a year to sell 1,000 copies.
Shocking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Not a really huge marketing scheme for this one, I imagine.
There were no deleted scenes for this film. The only scene that did not make it into the film was a flashback dream sequence, which was improvised by Daren of him running through a cornfield. Every other piece of footage was utilized.
Where would have that gone?
Probably with the like flashbacks with uh, him and Billy, I would guess. But I don't know.
Hmm.
Before deciding on ThanksKilling, creators Kevin Stewart and Jordan Downsey tossed around another idea for a holiday slasher set during Easter entitled Extravakill.
And ever came to light?
It did not. Never came into light.
That would have been interesting and fun.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably
I can't.
Easter killer films out there.
I'm sure there's a bunch of the Easter bunnies going around killing people, but I can't for the life of me think of any.
And the
Rise of the
last one I'll go
Guardians.
with Rise of the Guardians. Is there some killing in that?
Maybe. There's kidnapping.
And the last one I'll go with is the container of radioactive waste was not originally intended as a prop. It was discovered on location by the crew and incorporated into the script.
That's dangerous.
I know, what a weird thing to just come across.
Yeah, what the fuck? Is there a
Ohio, are you okay?
yeah, no, I was gonna say, is there a nuclear like dump site in Ohio that we don't know about?
Yeah, so that was interesting. But improvisation? Oh no, I'm like Springs. I can't say this word. Improv.
Improvisation.
You got Mirage.
Improvisation. It did sound like Mirage. Uh, that's it for the facts I found. You guys have any?
Only fact I have is that the director of this movie did not direct the second movie, but did direct the third one.
Yeah, the turns out this is a franchise. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. All right, then with that, we will jump into our coverage. We are doing a linear popcorn, so try to keep going with the story, but if you need to go backwards, go ahead, jump a little ahead, that's fine. And with that, we will start with a writer.
Oh boy. Uh, what a honestly the opening I think really sets the tone of what we're in for in this film, for better or for worse. Uh,
Yeah, 1621 after Thanksgiving, right?
yeah, 1621 like after Thanksgiving. A demonic turkey is just slaughtering pilgrims and is chasing a woman through the woods who has lost parts of her outfit and uh, dies. Very much tells you everything you need to know what you're in for in this film.
I think, yeah, it says everything.
Pretty
Perfectly
much.
sets up expectations.
Is 1621 when the first Thanksgiving was? I didn't fact check it.
I didn't fact check it either. But it's of the right time period, but I have no idea if it's the year or not. I would imagine they did at least that much research. But
Yeah,
maybe
the
not.
first Thanksgiving was in 1621.
Okay. They get a nugget of applause for that.
Yay, they did it. But they
But
didn't do well
they
this
should have
time.
never I'm on the boat they should have never had that beginning text crawl.
Should have just opened with the lady.
Should have just opened, because one of the selling points I think of the poster or whatnot is saying the first second of the film has boobs, and that is a lie. If the text crawl is the beginning of the movie after the production company logos,
Unless they don't count that as part of the movie.
that doesn't
I
make
don't know
sense.
if people think that, but
I mean, like it kind of depends because some movies don't count the end credits as part of the runtime. Some websites they don't count that as like part of the runtime, the end
If
credit scenes or the end
if
credits.
it's quoted as the first shot, then I think that's fine. Text scroll I would not consider as a shot of a film, but the first second of the film is the runtime of it, which would include the text scroll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree. It's obviously a hook for the film, the
It is,
tagline,
but
but
it's a lie.
saying the first 7 seconds just isn't as catchy, I guess.
No. Well, that's why I'm leaning. If you say the first shot,
We'll send that to them for the future one.
no. Also,
They are not working on it.
1621, having that placed as a time period is a problem for what's to come later with the math of the movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless this movie takes place in 2126.
Yep. Glad we came to the same conclusion.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how they could screw that up when they
Yeah.
have a whole like math decoding section. Well, they're not actually showing any of it, but
Yeah.
still.
I which I guess leads to one of my questions. Um, is it implied that Turkey woke up early because the dog was pissing on him?
Um, I can't tell you. I have no idea. I think it's an issue regardless of what it is.
I'm going to say I don't know, but I don't know why urine would be any different from rain.
The stench woke him up.
Maybe. The urine scene, the dog pissing on Turkey. By the way, that is a one of the many references that they decided to make to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ah, I haven't seen that. I
I don't remember
didn't pick up any
Freddy
references.
Krueger getting pissed on.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he gets. It's not. I think it's in one. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The franchise. I don't know if it's him getting pissed on or he's the one that's doing the pissing. But there's definitely a scene where an animal is peeing fire onto Freddy in one of the later movies because that franchise is wacky as fuck.
It is.
Sounds like Ghost Rider when he peed flames. I think that was the second one. I don't recall.
I don't remember
Which
like
been a
anything
while.
of that second movie.
Sprinks, you can go.
Is the of 1621 is the exposure so high to come across as representing the time period?
And when you say 1621 being like the woman running through the woods
The
segment,
program running through the woods. Yes.
I would say yes, but also that's what a lot of people do for the flashbacks. They have that sort of filter. So I don't know what was the phrase you used. High res? Was that it? No,
It was high exposure.
high exposure. Yeah, a lot of that's just not a technique unique to this. There's a lot of people who do that. Most things with flashbacks tend to do overexposed, uh, high exposure like shots and everything. So that's pretty in line for what's typically done for that. Though obviously you can argue that it's done poorly here, but yes, I do think that's explicitly for the flashback.
All right.
yeah, they do a lot of filter stuff in this. Some better than others, I guess, but not by much. We'll cover those.
I'm sure we'll cover
The
them as they come up.
yeah, I mean the turkey has purple vision, which I guess is kind of visually striking. I don't really get the choice of it being purple, but
Now,
visually interesting.
in my past, I have had quite an extensive conversation on um, the color intake or gosh, I forget all the names for it, but the different visions and cones of light that certain things can see. Is it
spectrum.
depicted in this that turkeys can only see shades of purple?
Well, I guess we can read into it like that. I don't think in reality turkeys do see in purple. And because this is such like a low budget film, they I know you don't usually like this answer, but they literally might think that just looked cool. But it could be them establishing turkeys have purple vision, or at least demon turkeys.
I can believe that. I can believe that this film did not have a lot of research into its history or science.
You have anything to weigh in on that, writer?
Yeah, I was just looking up to see what actual turkey vision is like because it got me thinking. Um, Turkeys can see colors in the visible spectrum, being red, blue, or green. Those are the main ones. But they can also see ultraviolet light, which kind of gives them a better sense of color perception when compared to humans. That's the basic takeaway. So interesting to think about, I guess.
So you can kind of see more vibrant colors.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I will talk about the title slash credits sequence here in the beginning. I actually quite like them. I think they look pretty cool, and the music is pretty fitting for it. It actually looks like there's a budget with this sequence. I'm sure they probably just found a website to do it, but I think it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not they found a website or they did it themselves, they definitely put effort into it. Um, and it is kind of a cool sequence as well.
Um,
Right.
I'll be on the opposite end. I don't think it looked that great. I don't understand the parts that had like um what's it called? Shoot. When like something stays on a screen for so long, screen burn. I think that's it. I don't understand why some shots had screen burn over them in the opening titles. That was weird, and maybe just because of how the blood splatter of the look was going about, and that was something they just couldn't work around. But I will credit that I do think that the theme song having turkey gobbles incorporated in it is fitting.
Yeah, I mean, music in this is interesting. They even made a musical for this. I don't know why everything horror related has to have a musical, but this got a musical, which
Yes, I
came
do
out in like
remember reading that.
2017 or something. Yeah, right. Spricks.
Interesting that two characters credited are Chuck Dead Body Guy Lamb and General Bastard.
And yeah, I mean, that's how they credited on Letterboxd too. The General Bastard. This was the only thing he was ever associated with.
Oh, and he's Oscar the Hermit, right?
Yes. Yeah, he has no bio or picture in Letterboxd. Not that that's the only place to look for people, but that's kind of my go-to.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't recognize him. So I mean, like I didn't.
Oh, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
pretty much it.
I wouldn't know who he is, and it's just weird that I guess the name that he goes by, I guess, in the credits.
So now we're at the actual school part, and I think they do a good job establishing the archetypes, and these are very heavy archetypes. They do not branch out from these whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
You got the nerd, you got the jock, you got the big guy, the
Hold on.
the girl that
I
sneaks
don't worry. I
around.
added names to them eventually, but I'll let you know what I wrote them down.
Sure.
Yeah, I wrote them down as. So I had nice girl, stupid girl, jock, fat redneck, nerd.
Yeah, and they don't really move from that at all through the film,
Yeah,
except maybe the nerd gets courage. I guess would be something that's gained at some point.
those are the nicknames in my notes. But Yeah, I eventually learned their real names going through.
Yeah. So good on them. It's a bit barbaric, or in terms of writing, it's like using a hammer instead of a scalpel. But I mean, it achieves what they're going for, I suppose.
uh, I guess my take on that is they're using a hammer. I think a scalpel is better. Uh, and again, the dialogue is very, very like terrible, but I definitely can see that as like again, it's a tone setter for the movie.
Any add-ons, Sprinks?
Um, they kept it simple and straightforward.
Yeah,
So I
and
guess that makes it easier for the quote unquote actors.
I think they do a decent job establishing like connections because you got Darren's connected to Billy, but he's not connected to the group quite yet, and Billy and Johnny are kind of buddy buddy, and I don't know. They do a lot with how barbaric they implement.
Yeah, I guess I do have some questions about how this friendship group formed. Allie makes sense. Allie just wants to have sex with oh man,
Johnny.
Johnny.
Johnny. Thank you. Uh, and but I'm not quite sure how Johnny and Billy became friends.
My guess would just be a childhood friend, but we don't really get anything
Yeah,
establishing that.
it's a little bit.
Sports buddies.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, maybe he could be for all I know, he could be an offensive lineman. So his job is to protect Johnny on the field.
Yeah,
He is,
right.
no offense to him, he is big enough for that.
No, you need to be a wall
Yeah.
in football. So, Sprinks point.
4:14 when they're all meeting up kind of outside the school, it speeds up the footage to them walking away. Don't know why. I think just to be like, oh, more time together, so it's not a super long looking shot. Which is something I discredit to this movie is its editing of transitions. I don't think they knew how to do that or had an editor to be able to do that. Um, so the speed up just looked poor.
Kind of got Ned's Classified vibes with them locking like arms and walking down the hallway kicking. So
Yeah, but
that's
it's not a
the setup.
stylization of the movie. It's not something they stick with.
No, not necessarily. Other than it just being goofy, like the movie. But I see the point you're making. Writer.
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm just thinking on Crimson Sprinks' point. I don't really have anything to add to that. I think it is oddly placed. I think it's just them. They're trying to speed it along. There's definitely some time where there's definitely like they didn't want to try too hard with the dialogue for a portion of this scene, so they cut away and we cut back. Like we miss a lot of the juice of the conversation when with Daren and Johnny meeting and chatting for the first time. Um, which obviously I think is the intent. They didn't want to write the dialogue for that. That's what it comes across to me as. So like them speeding like this footage being sped up, it's them uh, they're just cutting corners.
Something I appreciate them doing, and I was keeping an eye on it, was when Billy ripped his shirt open. I was expecting them to have a scene where he just has a new shirt on, and they actually show him in the car putting on a new shirt. So good on them for maintaining the continuity. I was totally expecting them to not keep that up on that.
The film does do that. It does keep continuity, which by how short the shots are, feel like they were afterthoughts to go back and film.
Like, what parts stand out as doing that?
Like, for example, the shirt you just said, or when they're fixing the Jeep and getting everyone in the same exact seating positions. Because to me, I think the Jeep scenes are all filmed in one go or one day of shooting and not two separate by everyone's position of where they're sitting. But it's like stuff like that where it's just like a small cut to something, I think, to help strengthen the continuity placement so it's not questioned upon.
Yeah, and I think something that helps with that Jeep theory you bring it up is there's this segment, and I'm sure you wrote it down, of the camera being dirty on the lens,
Yes.
and that followed the scene of the camera with the tire shot. So I fully expected the camera got dirty from that shot, and they didn't notice and just continued filming in the car.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Um, one of the funny bits in the dialogue that happens in the scene just before they get in the car is the Trent is Trent, but Johnny is Johnny line. Because, like I said, we missed the whole conversation, and I like that. The bit about it that I like is that Daren reacts like he was there for the whole conversation, at least. But for us, the audience, it's just a confusing line out of context.
I wish Trent was the guy that was with Allie that later, so there was some sort of through line with the names.
Honestly, that would be okay. I would be okay with that. Short cameo before death.
I had it also in my notes of another example of the continuity thing is the short shot of Johnny zipping up the Jeep. So that when it's shot inside, it's covered. And I think that was made maybe for a take where they had it where it was uncovered and the wind was messing with the audio. It's my best guess.
Certainly possible. Let's go with Sprinks.
At 5:13, when I believe it's Johnny talking with, and Allie and Kristen have already gone up to the Jeep, it cuts to the Jeep and Billy's there, like waving at him. I don't know how Billy got there.
Wasn't there a shot of him walking up to it to get his shirt on?
No, he's already up at the Jeep on the next cut.
Hmm. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't remember that.
I think it's implied he walks away from Johnny and Daren, but he does just teleport to the Jeep, I think.
We get a shot of Oscar and Flashy the dog establishing their presence. It's not the peeing doesn't happen yet, but it kind of just feels shoehorned in because those characters aren't tied to our characters at all, and the scene itself doesn't establish anything other than they exist. They have no ties to anything, so kind of feels just put in because they need to set it up.
Yeah. What you change
Agree.
about this scene is because they have a line of dialogue for it later, is you just have him mourning his wife. Because it's implied Turkey killed his wife. Somehow.
Hard to say because the turkey's supposed to be dormant for 505 years.
Yeah, but he claims that Turkey killed his wife, right?
I don't know if that was. I mean, he mentioned his wife was dead, but I don't know if it implied that the turkey was the one that did it.
And he says like, "Oh,
I
now you took my dog. First my wife, now my dog." I thought that was something what he said. Could be wrong though.
I think yes, along those lines. I think, but the context of it is like just people he cares about are dying. I
Yeah.
don't think that means the turkey took his wife.
Okay. Then yeah, my fix for the scene doesn't work then. Uh, I would still try to make the scene a bit more relevant. Like you can have him being 100% in the know already, so he's the one that's the paranoid one that's been waiting, like for the turkey to make his reappearance.
I would take that. I think that would be an improvement.
It doesn't change much from him, uh, other than that it would give us reason to catch up with him, and he's just like you can see him preparing. That's all you really. That would be a good way to, I think, introduce his character scene. But otherwise,
I'm
yes, I
ready.
think as it stands, it is a shoehorned in scene, a little bit.
You can go with point unless Sprinks has more to add.
No, go right ahead.
Wait, you want me to go with point?
Writer, yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Uh, I like, even though they're sticking to their archetypes, I do like that the Christine, the nice girl, is the first one to take Darren up on saying what they're thankful for.
Yeah.
Well, she is the nice girl,
Yeah,
so fits.
yeah, it's still, like I said, it's within her archetype, but I think it's fitting for what we know of Christine. Um, and Darren's obviously being the odd one out of the group right now, so it's Christine's way of trying to help him feel more welcome.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's actions made sense there because you had Billy who made fun of him and Johnny, but then Johnny flipped the script once he saw that Kristen was being nice to him. So then he brought up how family's the most important thing.
Yeah, you get some dialogue stuff here, which not like it's not amazing or impressive, but they do a good job of making the characters play off each other in a believable way. Like I can buy that there is established real friendships and relationships here.
All right, Sprinks, you got a point?
Oh, plenty. But keep it linear. Um, After Kristen makes her like burn, which using the same John Ramsey case joke 2.5 times throughout this movie, I think once is enough. But after that, the radio turns on, but it doesn't show Kristen or Johnny in the front seat turning it on as the car goes by, and I can take it that it's possibly um, was it non-diegetic audio in the film of just like a transition with music, but the audio quality of it does sound like a radio. So I think it was purposely trying to be like the radio to aid, but no one turned it on.
I agree with your assessment. I do think it's supposed to be in universe, but in practicality purposes, it feels like it should not be with how they utilized it being the radio.
I agree.
Yeah.
Is it in this scene that we established that Johnny uh, was taught football by his old man?
Yeah, where he says
Yes.
years ago in the flashback he looks no
Yeah,
different.
he looks no different. I did write that down. That was funny. Obviously, it's doesn't work, but I did find it funny. Unless they
I just
like,
found it.
okay, let me rephrase that. They've only been fighting for 2 weeks. That's so. Honestly, they could be still be playing catch regularly for all we knew up until 2 weeks ago.
Could be.
Yeah. It's just interesting they didn't show the dad during that because it's like, oh, maybe you don't see the dad. I don't remember. I haven't seen this in years. And then we see the dad later. Like, oh, I wonder why they didn't have him.
Mm.
They couldn't get him to set.
Yeah, I guess it was a
Wasn't
different
available
film
that
day.
day.
I suppose that could be it. Or writer?
Yeah. Nobody calls footballs pigskins anymore.
Uh,
Johnny does. I mean, it's still known terminology. I'm
I'm
not opposed to people
yeah,
using it.
I'm okay with it. I think it depends on where it's from.
Yeah, like I said, it's just a personal thing for me. I don't have any stake in this one. I'm just like I don't know why they decided to use that, but it, it's not an objective
It would
issue or
help if
anything.
that's what his dad called it, if the dad was in the shot.
Yeah, yeah. You just hear like a very very like horribly ADR like voiceover. Son, be sure to catch the pigskin.
And I think that would actually fit in this type of movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I specified horrible ADR.
There's no turkeys over here. We get ideas of what Daren wants out of this trip, and it never comes into fruition for him.
No.
Poor
No.
Daren. But
I I don't understand how Darren is friends with Billy, and it's like, oh yeah, Darren's my friend, and then the whole flashback, and I don't know if the it makes the flashback bit later in the movie a very 50-50 for me if it's real or not. But when they're sitting around the campfire and Darren's drinking beer and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get wasted, and Billy says no and swats it out of his hand. it that played off to me that rather than you're on a limit or that's the only one you get, to just waste the whole can of beer, that Billy and Daren aren't friends.
Yeah, that was kind of a big moment for me where I was like, wow, Billy is not a good friend towards Darren. And I was thinking up to the point where they do have the flashback of all the things they've done. I was like, so did Darren and Billy just meet up and Billy invited him to this whole Thanksgiving thing and they're like new friends? But then the flashback's like, no, they've hung out a lot. But also the flashback has them all in the same clothes. So it all probably could have happened in the same day. Who knows?
I have the flashback as possibly just being in Darren's head. Like, Billy said
Also
hi to
possible.
Daren, and now Darren's like, "Oh my god, he's my best friend," and, like, these are all the things, like, his fabricated mind's making up.
If that were true, I think I'd want another thing to prove that Darren makes things up in his head. So like like if he hallucinates something else like that, I think that would make more sense than for that to whole be fake.
Yeah, if Darren references something earlier in the film of like, Billy, you remember when we did X, Y, and Z? It's like, no, we didn't. Stop making up stuff.
I guess that would
Yeah,
work.
but
Yeah.
if it to the point of that's all before the campfire, then I'd like to know what's changed in Billy to be now less of a friend to Daren.
The
Because
angle
an
could be,
introduction or establish of their friendship is starting off with this campfire going into it, so they're not the greatest of friends.
yeah, it could be Billy sees Darren as a loser and wants to show himself to the rest of the group as being better than him. Maybe hard to say.
Could be
I
that.
don't
He could
think they
also be.
fully established
Oh,
that.
if that's his ploy trying to get with Allie.
Could be.
Well, that's also possible. Not
There's
not the angle I was thinking, but that could be an option.
that could be an angle. There's also the angle of the uh, Billy brought Darren along to be the friend that gets laughed at. Because it's one of the archetypes that sometimes that people invite others that they aren't necessarily friends with, but to as a to give the party that angle of conversation that they can get to mock somebody or make fun of somebody. So
Yeah, Carrie.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that
I
could
think
that could
Darren
also
could
be
be another.
another angle here. Um, but yeah, I would say that like if the whole beer thing is what they're going to go with, I think they could play it off a little bit more. Uh, like make that part of it. Like if that's the one they're gonna if they wanted to keep that in, they make that a part of the regular game between them. So Billy doesn't let Daren drink because Darren's like a horrible drunk, or he's just gets very philosophical, or he gets miserable, or he cries a lot when he's drunk. You can add a bunch of things into there as to why Billy would slap the beer away. They just don't play with any of it. So the only thing we really have to take away from it is the it feels like a misstep, I guess, with the way their friendship is portrayed.
It would help.
Yes, it would. To touch on what Sprinks brought up earlier with the Ramsey case, like her legs are harder to close than the John Bennett Ramsey case. I looked what that was because I never heard of that case, and it's of a 6-year-old girl that died in 1996, and it's still unsolved. And it just got me thinking, why did they pick that? It's not. I don't understand.
It could have been an inside joke amongst the cast.
Could be. Is it? It also could be
Maybe.
a maybe there was a high profile missing persons case.
It could be, but this came out in 2008. I think I didn't write that down.
It
But the
came out in
case was in
2008.
19. Okay, it was 2008, and the murder case was in 96. So that's quite the gap for it to still be relevant in the public zeitgeist. But maybe it is. I don't know. I was too young to really be
Did the
aware of these type of
case
things at that time.
did the case take place in Ohio? Maybe it's like a town knowledge thing.
That is a good point, and I do not know the answer to that.
Nor do I. But
So that would be a
that
good
is a good question.
workaround. Sprinks.
Yeah, Kristen's dad has a terrible fake mustache.
I loved it. I think it fits this movie. It is a very obviously a fake mustache, and I think it does go with the whole sheriff angle. It is very obviously a fake stash.
I
Yes,
almost
I would have liked the humor more if it was a real stash on the sheriff, and then when the turkey takes his face, then it's a fake stash.
Yeah, I think it would have been funny. Yeah, in leading going because my whole point of view on that was actually very similar to your Springs. I do think it works. I don't have a huge issue with it, but I think it would have been funnier if it was like a Spirit Halloween levels of fake mustache when the turkey takes his face.
Yeah, because I think it plays off that it's the turkey is taking his stash as well, but it's already a fake stash to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, if we cut away from the turkey killing the dad, and we get like an outside view of the house while he's screaming. If there was just an audio of the turkey like act ripping off the fake stash and joking about it, I think that could also fit in.
Hmm.
Or having the stepmom, she kind of just goes away
She
after the whole
leaves.
poop
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's what he tells Kristen on the phone. It's like, oh, yep, and your mom's gone.
Your
Hey,
stepmom is gone.
your mom is divorcing me again. Yes. Or says something like your third mom is divorcing me.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
takes it on the
that's
chin. He doesn't care.
just a way to get a family member cameo in the movie.
Most likely. Yeah. All right, writer.
Um, I it was just I think the worst bit of this is gonna sound weird, like body acting that it was for me was the reaction to the car overheating. Johnny like
Slamming
gently
the wheel.
gently tapping the wheel, and then there's a couple shots of him like trying to throw his hands up in the background, and he's just doing it very, very badly and awkwardly.
Yeah, I wouldn't accuse the actor of Johnny of being good.
I don't know if I would consider any actor in this movie good.
I mean, that's a good question. Who do you think is the best actor in this? Turkey doesn't count.
I'd say Billy.
I would probably do Billy. I think Daren is much more. He's a very good body actor. So while I don't think he delivers necessarily the best lines of dialogue, obviously he keeps wiping the drool from his mouth. He's very hunched over a lot of the time, so I think he does a decent job with that.
I think he covers his acting with nervousness.
Yeah, and I think that plays into the character a little bit as well. So it helps him, I think. I'd probably I'd probably be Billy or can I pick Oscar's dog?
No, you cannot
Flashy?
pick on Flashy. Mine would probably be Kristen's dad, sheriff guy. I think he's intentionally acting over the top for this film, but I think he's the best out of them. Still not saying he's good. Putting it out there, but I think he is the best one out of it. The totem is in the woods, exposed to the elements, presumably buried for 505 years. Don't know what it's doing out on the surface to get peed on.
Erosion.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the way the tectonic plates move in Ohio has eventually shifted the soil to
Well, it rains a lot, so the runoff it just brushes all the dirt off from that area going downhill. I also have no idea if it rains a lot in Ohio.
I don't know. I just know rain is a thing that occurs,
Yes, rain.
which goes back to why I don't know why dog urine would awaken it. I feel like that's something unexplained that a future movie could explain how the turkey got buried or laid to rest for its 505-year hibernation cycle.
Yeah, I think they just need to explain why it can wake up early. I think is the biggest thing.
if it quote unquote is early, because Daren says later around the campfire that it will be 505 years in a couple minutes, I guess when midnight hits.
It
So
was
yes, the turkey is early, but it's early by like a couple hours.
45 minutes. There we go. Found it. Yeah, 45 minutes till 505 days.
It's interesting that
505 years.
Sorry. Yes, years.
yeah, it's interesting that the turkey is the killer turkey is such a well-known legend, but he hasn't sprung up again at all in the last 500 years.
Yes, I also have that as a problem. How do they know if this is the second coming of the turkey?
The first instance was very impactful.
I
I don't
guess
know. I mean, it's a local legend. I mean, the original sign of the was it
Krauberg.
Krauberg? Yeah, sign is still on the surface, made out of wood and not rotten after 500 years. It's still present. So, I mean, because it's local, it might have more weight to it.
What would aid it for me is if there was a document documentation of some kind of 505 years prior to 1621 of the first telling. So then 1621 is actually the second coming of the turkey to identify the year change, to then go to the current events of this movie being a third. That way there's an actual pattern of knowing it rather than just a random 505 being put out.
I think they just need to change the 505 because
I
if
mean,
you did
itself is a problem, yes.
if you did 505 before the 1621, then the story wouldn't make sense because you didn't have white settlers there yet. So
No, it didn't
there
have
would
to
be
be
no one to
about
curse.
Thanksgiving, but just about a turkey killing people. And it
Yeah, I'm
came
just saying
back
that would
to
change the origin of the turkey then.
yes. Yeah, but if they wanted to go with that being like how Feather Cloud necromanced a turkey kind of thing.
Yeah, I think what you do is you just have the turkey crop up once every 100 years since uh, the original summoning, as it were, for revenge. Um, and once that's done, you'll have an established history. You'll have the town will have like a history of a bunch of mysterious murders that happens to coincide around Thanksgiving every 100 years or so, and uh, I think that would be enough to like fill in the backstory for the turkey and still give it a long, lengthy amount of time in between each one. So especially since they don't live. Obviously, they're at the previous times that the turkey came back around wouldn't have been technology wouldn't necessarily be around yet for a lot of uh, what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
easy fixes
it
for
feels like they kind of went with an adaptation to it and it just did not work.
I haven't seen it. What's the connection?
The Pennywise the Clown comes back every like 13 years in Derry, I think.
Okay. But in the example of this is they just made the window way too big.
Way too big
505 years.
to, yeah, in either case of second coming or the first doing, or it doesn't make sense in some form.
Yeah. All right. Sprinks.
Yeah, at 1320, there is a very low res shot of the moon. And I think they just tried to zoom in to get the moon rather than digitally editing a zoom in. They did it on the camera they were recording, which caused the low res. So it's a
I can
bad
buy it.
quality shot change.
Yeah, no disagreement. I mean, I guess they could have possibly gotten stock footage if they wanted, but they didn't go that route.
No.
Because, yeah, the final result of the moon, not great. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I doubt that was the intention of the shot for it to look like that.
No, I get the point of it being a transitional cut image, how they've done with like location establishing shots throughout the movie, but it was just its quality was very poorly done. And you brought it up earlier, Crimson, about the sign that Daren fell on. I went back to when Daren fell. I don't think that sign was on the ground at all.
Ah, continuity break.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, another missed opportunity to show that Darren and Billy actually do have a deep friendship. That Billy's, carrying him around. They laugh a little bit, and then it goes on for a little too long, and then you can have Billy throw him off. Another missed opportunity.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda on their parts.
I will give him
Ren.
a little credit though
Sorry.
that during Darren's story of talking about like how the turkey and the legend and everything, it's a transitional cut to the camp being already set up. Though there is no like pause of Darren talking, so it does sound like he was telling the whole story continually throughout them setting up the camp. But
I'm fine with an overlaid dialogue over a transition, and I agree. I think they did a okay job with that.
It's pretty common use to convey information to the audience, especially in horror settings where they just the narration continues the story, even though they've moved and set up the camp and everything else.
The actual story depiction being like the cartoon that is shown. I don't understand why the sign was Kralberg and switched to Kralberg, and the population changed from 13 to 12 people.
Well, because Turkey
I
killed
see that
somebody.
as half as a joke, but also over time, names of cities and towns adapt and change with pronunciation.
I also would say that it's probably a joke. Because Plymouth, or the idea that there's only 12, 13 people that live there, and then one person just moved away or was killed.
Yeah, kind of just an interesting to throw in there. For the actual animation, it's fine for the budget they had, and it's
It's
certainly
okay.
stylized.
It's not animation, but well, I guess it is. I guess
It,
technically
it
an
is.
animation.
That's
There's a
animation.
little movement comparatively to just like still images.
Sprinks.
Yes, at 14:04, when Darren comes through the bushes after falling on the sign to the group to tell him, like, "Oh my gosh, Grobber," and that terrible zooming on him. It's very choppy.
Zero disagreement.
They should have had just another take if they wanted to zoom, or editorially enhance it as a zoom if they wanted on a longer shot. I did the choppiness of it. I don't know if it was like every certain words were more emphasized. Darren didn't express it that way in his speech of what he's saying, but I don't know if the camera zoom was to like emphasize on certain things to be more shocking in the shot, but they did
Is
not
this on the
match that
revelation
way.
of the sign?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it could be to show the importance of the discovery, but like you said, his words don't really say too much. Right.
Sure. I will jump to the gunshot that goes off when the Oscars finds Turkey over his dog. Uh, our campers would be close enough to hear that, considering he was near enough to show up.
Well, Turkey also just freaking teleports everywhere too.
Yes, but the difference in that, I believe, is that seeing Flashy's body was during the day and the campfires at night. Or 45 minutes, or like 11:15 at night, because Darren said 45 till midnight.
Yeah, I found that being weird. The dog gets attacked during the day, and then the nighttime when Oscar finds him, you hear the dog whimper. That's where he goes and finds him. And the turkey's still with the dog, and it's nighttime. So the turkey's just been sitting over the dog all day.
Yeah. So I think there was a time jump, but also a teleportation of the turkey's movements.
I I don't know if Turkey teleports. He steals a car.
He
Well,
does.
at one point he uses a car, yes, but still throughout the movie there are points of the turkey teleporting to locations.
Yeah, he gets around quick. That's for fucking sure.
He's
I
very
would be
fast.
more on
But
the
the car doesn't
vein
show up anywhere.
I'd be more in the vein of Kristen going to call her dad to get service, and she screams when the turkey's present, and no one at the campsite hears her.
Yeah,
That's
I know
also
she
a
went
good
that far
one.
away. Also, when they're on the road, she tells her dad they're a few hours away, and then the car breaks down. They have to camp, and then in the
I
morning
know
they
where you're
fix the
going with this
car.
one.
They fix the car, they drive, and then they get there at night. How is that just a few hours? That's a whole day.
It's
Their college is almost uh I want to say at least 16 hours away.
yes. It's also a problem later with a line that realized to me like how much time has changed is when I think it's after, sorry to jump ahead, when Johnny's parents are dead and he meets up with all of them and they're all explaining, I think we got to go get Allie, and they're all at Billy's place. Johnny says to Kristen, "Oh, I dropped you off last night," which tells me a whole day has passed now. It's not the same night.
Uh, that or he could have just dropped her off the previous day. That isn't related to the movie. He could just regularly drop her off. I don't know.
I did
But I
enjoy.
think it's more likely that they tripped up on their continuity than that.
Yeah, I did enjoy the bit. It's like, yeah, I know I was there when you dropped me off.
Yeah, it was. We'll get there, but that was also a lot of weird stuff happening with that part.
Oh yeah, plenty.
I think it only occurs, or I only caught it once. I'm sure there's a couple more. I mean, I know there's sound effects throughout the movie to with the gunshots and all that. But when Allie says she has another like space in her tent, and it cuts between Daren and Billy, like moving their heads to look at Allie, they add a sound effect to their heads that's like cartoonish. But I don't know any other like cartoony add-in sounds that are in the movie.
Sounds, I don't think so, but I'd say him eating a phantom turkey is in line with that kind of sentiment.
Well, being a cartoonish act, yes, but I just mean like a sound effect inlaid into the film.
Yeah, nothing else really comes to mind.
Yeah, I think they were doing that to just help convey the tone of the scene.
Billy was forced to sleep outside and get dumped on.
He was. That also, yeah, dumped on. I don't know why the turkey didn't kill him.
No idea either.
Well, this turkey very obviously plays with his food quite heavily. So I
Yeah,
think that's reasonable enough for
I
that.
there's also, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, there is also reason to believe he would not have killed Kristen's sheriff dad with that if not for the constant turkey comments.
Yeah, I don't understand how the turkey has patience in some parts, and then, like, when he steals the car, has none. Like, that's evil.
It's pretty evil turkey.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fine with him being psychotic, so I don't need him to be like sane enough to bounce around and stuff like that. But it's kind of funny that he bounces between playing with his food and then it seems he enjoys playing with his food when he has time to kill, but when he's like really needs to get somewhere, or in the case of the driver, he just gets to work because he needs to go.
And with the dad, he kept referring to him as sheriff, so he might have actually viewed him as an authority figure to not kill, to bring more attention. Maybe it might be a bit of a stretch, but it might be something. Let's go with the Spriggs one.
Okay, overarching question, big thing. What does the turkey look like to people?
I had a feeling this was going to be a topic. I was hoping, because I was going into this movie hoping to find an answer for this question. I was hoping that there'd be a reference in the like story of the turkey that he has some sort of powers
Kent
of
glasses situation?
hallucination or something. Um, yeah, but there is nothing giving him those powers other than he's just a killing turkey that lives forever. So
Who happens to
I'm led
talk a lot like Freddy Krueger.
so I'm led to believe that these people are just morons.
And everyone's okay with a talking turkey.
No, his disguise was immaculate. They couldn't tell.
What
Gas ass or
disguise?
Grash?
He's not wearing a disguise when that happens. That guy just wanted to pick up a turkey.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, he did.
yeah. That one. Yeah, I got nothing for that one.
But when the turkey's like yelling vulgar language at Oscar, doesn't question it's a talking turkey. Kristen screams, doesn't care it's a talking turkey. When the turkey's not in disguise, it's just like it's talking turkeys are normal.
No disagreement. That is how it's portrayed. But we're also dealing with some of the dumbest people I've ever seen.
I guess so. I mean, I guess it just comes across that turkeys talk in this universe. And dogs and sheeps don't.
Man, that hitchhiker guy. What a guy.
Yeah.
Don't really feel bad for his daughter.
Yeah. Neither do I. I actually, when I first saw
Right.
that scene, I actually thought Turkey had called like a prostitute, and that's how why he pulled up and stopped.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have that.
No, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
have it either.
that's definitely not what it was.
I know it's definitely not what it was, but I thought that was a funny take
Yeah, the
one could
gun in the
take.
car that he pulls on the guy who picks him up in the car. Is that the guy's gun, or did Turkey have that gun the whole time?
I
So you
think
have the
it's
same thing with the axe he used on the dog. It's just like he just spawns these weapons, it seems.
yeah. As far as I understand it, he just hides all this shit in his feathers. It's bigger on the inside kind of tech with his feathers. It's a bag of holding his feathers. I don't know.
Cartoon pocket.
It feels like a cartoon pocket.
We never see the passenger seat, so it is possible the gun was on there, but the axe is unexplained. Unless it was just out in the woods.
I know it's not Oscar's gun, though they could be the same prop gun in the film, but two separate guns in the movie.
Yes, and also probably how low budget. I doubt they would have sprung out to get two guns. All right, Ryder, you got a point?
In terms of playing with his food, I thought it was funny that the turkey decides to throw a baby bunny into the fire where everyone's sitting around, and Alex just like, "Oh, look, a baby bunny," and everyone else is like freaking out. Uh,
Yeah, I guess that kind of comes across the bunnies talk too.
It did make a sound, and them pointing at, look, its guts are picked out, and
They're
you
not.
just look at it, and there's
they
nothing.
immediately identify it as, oh, it's a turkey beak.
Oh, Daren did.
Darren did.
It got beaked by a turkey. And but do you guys think everyone is air quotes believable in their turn to believe in the turkey?
Is everyone believable in their turn to believe in the turkey?
Yeah, because they all took turns essentially getting convinced
I don't
or
know if Allie had
believers
time
and
to
all that.
believe in it, but sure.
Yeah, I think Kristen believed when she saw a turkey.
I mean, Kristen believed when the
Yeah.
turkey's like, "Oh, I lied," and then started chasing her. I'm sure she believed then. Johnny makes sense. I mean, death of his parents are killed in front of him by a turkey.
Yeah, but you don't think he should have believed based off of. I think at that point, Billy and Kristen were both telling him, dude, it's real.
Well, Johnny's like, "Oh yeah, I believe you, Kristen," and she's like, "Looking at my eyes," and he was looking in her eyes to begin with. I don't know why that statement made him then get nervous to look at her.
Looking at my soul, I guess is what it should have been. I don't know. One thing to look
Uh,
in the eyes, one to look
yeah.
into the soul.
Billy's is a little more subtle because you can tell the story that Darren is telling gets to him, but obviously waking up to Oscar and the turkey droppings on him, I think works as a convincing enough factor for why that he's changed his mind and flipped. I think the only thing
I
that
think he knows the turkey's there, just if it's evil or not.
yeah,
Mm.
Because I don't think it's for Billy until he sees the sheriff and the quote unquote sheriff together. He goes, "Why are there two of you?"
A genius. I guess flat out confirmed, but I do think he was believing in it after the Oscar bit.
Yeah, because I think Oscar kind of intimidates him enough into believing because Oscar clearly took that serious, like he's the reason that he's still alive. I have no idea like how he slept through whatever Oscar did to save his life, but that's not the issue, I guess, in question.
Yeah, that's something I was going to bring up. Is did Oscar not make a sound and just like shoo off the turkey? Like what happened?
He rolled a 20 on his
I
stealth check.
I was
Ah,
even on the side that Oscar didn't see the turkey near the campsite at all. Just noticed the droppings.
he did say he protected them, so I guess standing guard would constitute that as well.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that as an interpretation. Fits what we have.
All right, Sprinks.
I don't know what the turkey got stuck on when I tried to get Kristen.
Yeah, I had this same issue. I wish they showed that. I mean, the whole movie you don't even see the feet of the turkey.
Well, no, there's an
Uh,
arm and a puppet. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, Puppet actually doesn't look terrible for the close-ups.
yeah, I think it looks pretty decent. He was made in a bathroom
I
with
think it helps knowing it's a turkey and turkeys' faces already are very wrinkly and full of like drooping skin. So I guess the rubber effect of the turkey head does help with that, but still tell it's a rubber head.
well, yes, it does not look like a taxidermy turkey or anything.
Like I said, just lots of Freddy Krueger dialogue comes from the turkey. So
I wish they showed what the turkey got stuck on, whether like bramble in a bush or you know
yeah,
foot caught between two sticks or something.
I mean, what you do is you just have Oscar having set out traps and snares after the dog encounter, and that's what the turkey ends up running into.
Could be if they
That
had
would
that
be
in the
good.
budget, or just explanation of dialogue.
Yeah, I was like, that could even be just dialogue. So I think that would improve what we have of zero.
Yeah.
All right, Ryder, you can go next.
Sure. I quite like that. As they're driving back, or as they're driving away, Johnny is the one that shuts down the topic of the turkey once he realizes Billy is buying into it. It's kind of implied that he doesn't really want to think about it, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't. It might be because he doesn't really want to believe in something like that being real, but also because the fact that Kristen is someone who he's obviously very interested in, is crushing on, if Billy is kind of worried about it. Um, Interesting that Daren though is the one that kind of flips like, yeah, it's just a story I said to scare you guys. Why are you guys being so weird about it?
Yeah, when he was the one that freaked out over the sign.
Yeah, I know. Made a little
So
less
that
sense for
does,
me.
yeah, it's like that is kind of incongruent. Sprinks, looking at my notes. Would you constitute the dad farting when he gets up as cartoon sound effect?
It's a sound effect. I wouldn't call it a cartoon one or sounds like cartoon, but it is a element of a humor. I think it was more because it was a one-time fart that seemed more believable in world kind of thing. But if it was like as he's walking away, it's just a constant like long fart, and like the mom's like telling him like, "Oh, come back," as he's like still farting and walking away kind of thing. Then I would feel that would get to the point of cartoonish.
All right. And I guess on the topic of the dad, very quick, and at least the dad went out with a smile. His son was successful in his eyes.
Yeah, but his son lied to him.
Yeah, I mean
It's what we
that's
call
on
a white
Johnny
lie.
now.
Yeah.
Johnny has to live with the guilt for however long he's got left of his last words being a lie to his father.
Uh, Again, depends
So he
on
doesn't
how
seem to carry that
that
weight.
just depends on how you feel about white lies. Though in this case, Johnny wasn't telling it to comfort his father; he was telling him so that they wouldn't be fighting.
Yes.
So like if for example, for any reason his dad survived the attack and was dying anyway, and then he lied to try and, you know, comfort his dad, I think that would have been probably a more acceptable white lie. But obviously here he's just lying to just
Okay, I was about to clarify, like, because this doesn't seem like a white lie to me. I was curious what your line on that was.
did I clarify it?
Yeah, that's what's like. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, happy to help. That being said, I do find it funny that the mom is just trying to be comforting to both of them, and she just when we come back to her, she's just dead standing up.
Yeah, she didn't even warrant an on-screen death.
No, the turkey found some way to prop up the mom. Just interesting, but it's indoors and shut the cut, and Johnny runs away. So I guess it doesn't need to be explained. But
Yeah,
I
there was
think that's
enough
the.
time.
But we've seen that before in the Who Done It show, where they came across the dead corpses and they were standing, or one was.
Yeah,
I
at the piano.
I have a question.
Hmm.
I may have an answer.
How does Turkey know how to drive?
How
I
does
don't
Turkey
know.
know
I
how
don't
to use
know
a
how.
shotgun?
I think Turkey was sitting on the dead guy's lap, and pushed down on his knees with his own feet to make his feet hit the pedals.
That's correct. I'm fine with that. How does he know that's how a car works?
He
He's quite
wouldn't,
knowledgeable.
but I don't know. He's
Yeah.
been dormant for 500 and quote unquote 4 years.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him react to cars. Like, what the fuck are those? Those aren't horses and carriages.
That would kind of be interesting of him being like a fish out of water in this world.
Yeah,
They don't do anything with that.
yeah.
He
The
knows how to plug in a like electric saw thing. What
yeah.
are those called? Or
Electric knife,
it's just electric knife? Okay.
Uh,
electric carver, one of those.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's a worse version of that character who's never driven a car before can suddenly drive amazing. The turkey doesn't even know what a car
Oh,
is.
I don't know if I would say amazing. We don't really see the full turkey getting from point A to point B.
No, 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 no. So what I'm saying comparatively to as the trope when a character says they can't drive, and then they suddenly can
And then they
drive
can
like
drift.
they could drift and drive really, really well.
Yeah, and I guess to tackle more on with the truck is the how did the turkey know where everybody lived in their family
It
relations?
didn't.
I'm fine with that. They can just look at a phone book.
He doesn't know what a phone book is.
That's that's fair.
So I think that's actually one of the biggest issues I have with this movie is that because the turkey gets knowledge it shouldn't have knowledge on, which results in everybody dying.
I mean, the fix for this is just have them get involved with the curse somehow, because we know Billy's ancestors are related, right? With the whole flashback stuff.
Not to be with the
They're
last name,
guessing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could not necessarily don't have that with all of them. For the Billy, that would be an explanation. I'd be fine with Turkey knowing where he is because that could be curse related, like his family wronged the Native Americans, and that's why Turkey can go find him. And with the
What I
others,
think,
they can it can be related to this as to why the turkey shows up, or they can desecrate something. That way, if they're cursed, that would be reason enough for the turkey to show up.
what could help is that it was said by Daren that the turkey just goes on a murder spree, like massacre, when it's around. I don't know why it's looking for Kristen or any of these kids rather than just going into town and just killing people and coming across them.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. And
I
I
don't know
don't
why it's
think the
specifically hunting them.
writers could either. Well, I feel like it's hunting because it is just showing him killing relevant people. If they showed more of him going around town killing people, I think I could write it off a bit more. But the only non-related people that he kills is the dog, and that's before even coming across them.
And the guy in the truck.
And the dog woke him up. Oh yeah, but he used the guy in the truck to get to them, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess eventually get to them, but I doubt there's any off-screen murders the turkey's doing.
No, there's no radio being like, "There's deaths everywhere in the town, unexplained, feathers left everywhere." Nothing.
Yeah, there's none of that.
It probably would help if he was just massacring everybody in town. Mind you, that even if he was massacring everybody in town, he would just wouldn't get to the main characters because they apparently live 16 hours away from their college.
Yeah.
Turkey would just have to
Uh,
massacre everybody in that town, and then the next one, and then eventually just happen upon them.
let's go with writer.
Sure. Kind of touched on it. I do think the scene is somewhat touching with Johnny trying to get through to his dad. Um, I think that it works in the outside. We talked about the dialogue part of it, but I think it's you could definitely, I guess, feel the tension between the quote unquote characters before obviously Turkey ruins the resolution.
First kill I've seen with a cheese knife.
Yeah,
Fair enough. That's pretty funny.
I do think the killing of Johnny's dad was pretty darn bad by just how quickly the cuts were to make it not focus on how bad it was.
It did seem like they wanted to get it over with quick.
Yeah, tossing the head with that really bad cartoon blood spilling out was probably the worst shot of it all.
Go deep, Johnny. Yeah, the the blood looked like it was glowing.
Yeah,
Whatever
he
effect.
also didn't throw it like a football. He lobbed it up, which I
I
guess is okay, but it's not a football throw.
You can't throw a football like that.
You can. It's just like to me, it
Not
didn't
standard.
fit the line of like go deep, as in like chucking the football to try to get as far as you can, and it was just lobbed up.
No, you're right.
I can agree with that.
Did
Yeah.
the dad have a cigar, by the way?
Yes, he lit one just before Johnny sat with him on the bench.
I didn't remember because I just wrote, "Where'd the turkey get the cigar?" So I
Yeah,
guess
you
he
got
got
it
it
from
from
the
the
dad.
dad.
He got it from the dad. Yeah. There was a I have a shot complaint, but it was earlier in the film when I don't know if it's the first scene with the sheriff or the second scene with the sheriff where is calling Christine. Um, but there's this weird wide shot where we see the whole kitchen with him sitting at the table. And I don't know why the shot stood out to me. It just did.
It's probably the first one, and the reason why it stands out is because I think also for me, it felt very much like a set. Like the wall where the camera is non-existent,
Which
so it
is
looks like the room's a lot longer than it
mm,
actually is.
which is funny because I don't
Hmm.
think it's a set. I think that's an actual
Yeah, I
house.
was like, I'm pretty sure they filmed on location. I'm trying to remember the shot because the only one I'm thinking of is when he's talking to the turkey. So, from what you're describing, it sounds like it's the same shot, just without the turkey, in which maybe they just filmed it back to back at the same
It's
angle.
a straight on shot. So when he's at the head of the table, so it's kind of like when we see his wife walking off behind him and he's asked for a divorce. We just get this wide shot of the whole
Um,
space, and it's just him sitting there with the coffee pot at the end. I don't know why, but like that shot just stood out really weird to me, and it might be because the house seemed too full, but there's like it felt like a lot of negative space, I guess is what we've been calling it. I don't know. It just stood out to me as a very odd shot.
So I think Johnny's. I don't know if it's the worst acting in the movie, but it's. I think Johnny's worst acting at the very least is when he's in the car crying about his parents being dead. Awful, awful, awful.
Yeah, you definitely feel the lack of acting ability in that scene because I mean, actors would love to eat that scene or give it their best shot because there's that character, their quote unquote their character is so much to draw on in that scene. So I would agree, it comes across as very awful shot or awful acting.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it's the worst acting in the film or just Johnny's worst?
Oh, jeez. Uh,
I know it's a very tough question to
I,
ask.
I can't tell you what the
Lots of
worst actor in this
choices.
movie is.
I would say this is Johnny's most disappointing acting, but I honestly think the worst acting is still the opening scene with all of them.
Actually, I think the worst acting is Kristen realizing her dad's dead.
That's pretty fair. That was pretty bad.
Oh, and
Dad,
all
no.
Oh, and also later on where she's comforting Johnny over the death of his parents, but she's like,
Neither one of them is sad.
yeah,
It's true. They don't have much of an acting range.
No.
they do not.
There was a weird edit for me of a transitional edit at 27:38 after they drop Allie off at her house and the car is driving away. It's a weird like flash of white to black to then go to the next shot.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
It feels like one of those just like iMovie random transitions that they just clicked and dragged in to use.
most likely. Yeah. I am now curious what program they used. Because 2008, they totally could have used iMovie.
I can believe it.
Yeah, that kind of be interesting. Uh, I'm curious why Allie isn't with them when they're at Billy's house. Because originally I thought, oh, he went around and picked up everybody and ended at Billy's and then forgot Allie for some reason. But then he's like, no, I called her, left her a message. And then I'm just thinking, well, what is she doing? And I'm not talking about the one where he texts her later while she's busy. Uh,
No.
the one earlier while he's meeting up with everybody. I don't. They didn't explain why she didn't get that.
I also don't
The
understand why he. I
events
don't understand why he just kept picking everybody up and just kept driving. They didn't need to stop somewhere for this conversation to happen.
the events how it feels like to me of what occurred was they all dropped off Allie, and then Allie had Craig come over and they had their thing. And then Johnny dropped the other three of Billy, Darren, and Kristen all at Billy's place and then went home where his parents died. He then got in his car and drove to Billy's place where the other three were, and Billy complained, "Why are we all at my place?" And then they decided to go get Allie. That's what it feels like to me. It doesn't come across to me that Johnny dropped everyone off at their own homes except Allie.
And just left everyone at Billy's.
Just left everyone at Billy's. That's how it comes across to me. Unless, as I said earlier, with the line that that Johnny says to Kristen that it was last night, is that a whole day has occurred and then went to get everyone to go to Billy's place, or everyone met up at Billy's place.
Because it's weird if they were already at Billy's except for Johnny and Allie. His statement of why is everybody here doesn't make sense if they've already kind of been there.
True, but then I also don't understand why everyone was to meet at Billy's place,
Well,
which
like I
then
said,
Billy
helps
doesn't
the
even
line of
know.
Billy back. Like, why is
there,
everyone here?
there's nothing that I think works about this because in the instance of what you're saying, Springs, I think that he went and picked everyone up and they all ended up at Billy's place after that. He picked them all up one by one. And again, they are all at Billy, and then they were all at Billy's. But the problem with that is they had no reason to stop at Billy's because they didn't collect Allie.
Yeah, it makes no sense to exclude Allie.
Yeah. So I, like I said, I don't think this there's something wrong with this scene any way you look at it.
Innately poorly constructed.
Innately poorly constructed.
All right, Spriggsy, you want to go somewhere?
Sure, a terrible shot of Johnny in his car where he's screaming out the line of like, "No more gravy, no more cranberry sauce, all turkey." The tripod or whatever the camera's set up to in his car is horribly shaky. Like, that's too much shaky for me. You can barely make out that it's Johnny you're looking at.
Oh, don't you? But can't you tell it's the emotions that's like driving the shaking of the
Sure,
camera?
I can understand the point of wanting it to be a shaky cam, but it is so overly done.
Yeah, no, I agree. Reminds me of JJ's obsession to do shaky cam.
Shots fired, JJ. You got compared to ThanksKilling.
No, it's like I said, JJ has very much perfected the art, but I do think he overdoes it.
So, Allie, she's the first of the crew to not make it. And I'll have someone else talk about it. Who wants it?
What do you mean, who wants it? She doesn't make it. She gets killed.
There's nothing else to talk about the scene.
I think he wants to talk about what the other
I'll be
aspects
honest,
of
if
the
you
scene.
want to talk about that part of the scene, you have full reign to do so. I don't I guess I can go with that the turkey had a condom and it doesn't show the turkey putting on the condom or even taking it out. Unless it's supposed that that gravy flavored one was for Craig and they think it's the turkey's.
It's possible, I suppose. More going on her unawareness of any situational changing.
Well, I guess it just comes across that Craig's and the turkeys feel the same.
Well, not just that, but he's got like feathers grabbing her and stuff. It's just her
Well, she
being
has her clothes
more
on.
dumb than she already is.
Yeah.
Still.
Very much again. It's, Freddy Krueger does some similar shit, and this one comes across as gratuitous. I think would be the word I want to say. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not out of character for Turkey, I guess.
No. But Allie's parents, I guess they're fine with it. That's what she said. Weird. This is a weird movie.
Yeah, no shit.
All right. Writer.
Sure. Probably my favorite comedy beat in the film is Turkey and Sheriff just sitting across from each other, just silently drinking.
I think that was my favorite humor in this movie. It's not great, but my favorite humor of this movie, I think, is that a turkey is dressed up as a man and a man's dressed up as a turkey.
Yeah, I would agree. That's probably my pick as well for my favorite humor. It didn't make me laugh out loud, but it made me smirk.
I'd say it's probably my favorite scene, actually. Just the one-on-one talking.
Yeah, I mean that it makes sense. It works.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. The refraining from the obvious part of it that doesn't make sense being that nobody recognizes Turkey when he's wearing a fake nose and glasses.
Well, at least the
And,
sheriff.
well, they didn't recognize him with the sheriff's face either. Master of
No,
disguise.
my problem with that is that the sheriff's very adamant on the turkey's size. So then when Kristen and everyone comes home to see the sheriff or the turkey as the sheriff, no one questions the size
Yeah, well,
change.
the reason that nobody questions the sign change is because see the sheriff is used to asking questions because he's the sheriff. The kids don't.
Oh,
No,
he's
but
more
that's still
observant.
Kristen's dad,
You're right.
who she
I
bends down to hug him.
yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna dissuade that. It's such a
They should have
it's
added like a
obviously for the
little if they
comedy,
wanted.
but
Yes, but if they wanted to cover it with a little joke to actually show the difference, because the sheriff brought up earlier about the turkey size, Kristen could have been like, Dad, have you been on a diet or
Dad, why are you
getting
kneeling?
prepared for, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you could follow. Yeah, okay, I can see what you mean. Like the following
At
up
least
the joke
cover it
that they
up a
already
little,
said. Yeah.
because it just really plays into Kristen just being that dumb about her dad. Now she hasn't seen her dad; it's all been on the phone. But I still think something coming up of like, oh, you've lost weight.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. Right. Sprix, you want to bring up a point?
Yeah, there was. I guess it plays into just Billy also, just more into the dumbness of the character. When they find out Allie is dead, Billy freaks out that like the cock blocking turkey is still getting in the way. And I was baffled that Allie is announced dead to Billy, and Billy still thinks he has a chance with Allie, but the turkey's still alive.
Billy still has a chance.
Well, he's like, oh man, the cock blocking turkey's getting in the way of things. It's like, but Allie's dead. So there, unless Billy's into necrophilia, it's not exactly going to work.
I, I don't think that line was inferring that he thought he still had a chance. I mean, the turkey successfully cock blocked him by killing her. Uh, but obviously, Billy's very shallow here, anyways, just thinking, darn, I didn't get with her, instead of, wow, she's dead.
I mean, true, that is the emotion they came across.
Well, pretty shallow people. I mean, no one really reacts very well to the deaths. I think Johnny and his dad, or I guess and his
Actually, it
parents,
kind of
are the
comes across
best.
that Kristen had more sadness that Allie died than her own dad. And Kristen didn't like Allie.
I can agree. I think so.
Yeah, especially since Kristen or Allie was constantly trying to get with a person she was interested in.
It's just very interesting dynamics at play here. I do like that they acknowledged the libraries would be closed. What could they possibly do? So I guess kind of cool on that part. The dad having a, turkeyology book, a little out there, but I mean, he does have a turkey suit, so maybe he's into
He was doing
turkeyology.
he was like dressing up for a competition, right? That was what the whole.
Yes.
Yeah, but he had to have already had that. He had the time to go out and buy one.
I would guess so. Said he had to go change into it. But I guess that also aids into why he would have the book on the turkey, like he's just like a turkey fan or
Mhm.
Thanksgiving fan.
Which is fair.
I
I
do like
mean,
on the. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I was just that he would be a turkey fan. Uh, I think that works as an excuse in a way because just he likes Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it helps Kristen being like, oh, my dad has that. Because she would know then. It's not just randomly.
Yeah, and also because
True.
he was planning to do something with Kristen for Thanksgiving. Was it to watch the Rose Bowl? Is that what he said?
I thought they were going to like a father daughter event, either at like the police station or something,
Okay,
like a dance.
that checks out.
I do like the detail with the Turkeyology book. There's a close up of Daren reading it from the back of the book, and you can see in the corner of the book where the genre would usually be listed. It actually says Turkeyology on it. It also said something else, but I couldn't read it what it said.
Oh,
So
I
they
found the
actually
book.
did make a slipcover for the book.
I do find the book weird that it's all quote unquote English up to a point where it's in code.
Yeah, I don't know why they'd keep it a secret of how to kill it unless it was a Native American book, I guess. But then you'd argue, why would they even put that in the book in the first place? So I have no idea,
I
other than it
also
gives Daren a skill set and a reason to delay killing the turkey.
I also have no idea.
Ryder, you're up.
Sure. I think okay, we pretty much covered everything that happened on in the house that was relevant to Ali's death. Uh, the poor dude that Allie seduced and just got wiped by a turkey.
Yeah, he didn't see that coming.
Silently.
It was quite the stealth kill. Surprised they didn't hear a body drop.
You know, she didn't hear her phone either, so
That's also true.
she's pretty quiet. Pretty deaf, I guess.
Uh, when it comes to I mean, I'll jump. We kind of touched on the Turkeyology book a little bit. When they're searching through the files, I I thought it was very funny that it's implied that Daren was teaching Billy how to read, and it took only
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Well, didn't exactly completely teach him, just taught him a little in that time. But I think it's weird that they're in high school and Billy doesn't know how to read.
They're in college, I think.
Oh, they're in college and Billy doesn't know how to read. So Billy graduated high school without knowing how to read.
Gone to college from a scholarship for football. Boom. We got his whole story.
It's true. That might have been enough. I do
He
like
got enough credit from his extra
yeah, I do
credentials.
like the idea that one of the things that might have informed their friendship is that Darren was tutoring Billy on like how to read and other basic things that he would need.
Daren could have been doing his homework, and that's how he passed.
That's true. That also could be.
Maybe.
In either event, I do think that little bit of the montage where Darren is teaching Billy how to read, I think that really helps their friendship because otherwise, it's one of the supporting factors for their friendship, I think.
Yeah. We get confirmed that the turkey's 510 years old. So I guess he died at like 5 years old. And then what was the Native American's name?
Feather Cloud?
Yeah. Resurrected him. So I guess some backstory. And I did look it up. Turkeys live to up to 10 years. So it tracks.
Okay. It's silly that Billy is like starving to go to the kitchen to find food.
But he's eating through the whole
But
montage.
but in the montage he's eating French fries. Did they find just French fries in the garage?
Considering they only had 5 minutes, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. It's a
Could have
weird one.
microwaved
I think
him.
they just needed him to have food.
Could
I don't
have.
think he ever went to the kitchen until after.
That's true. Well, I mean, he would have seen the bodies, so.
Well, they didn't have to have him eat during the montage. He could have just been
Yeah,
starving.
they didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
But they just have him eating French fries twice.
yeah. I feel like it's that is inconsistent with what comes after him being hungry. I do view this as more of a continuity problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Because you're right, they could have
it
just
would
had
have
him not eat
helped.
the French fries. It's so much easier.
Yeah, but it would have been funnier if he's like looking through a box and finds them, and he's like, "Oh, so they're just like so it's nonsense humor." Like, "Oh, there's just French fries in the garage that he's eating because he's hungry." That's more funnier than just cutting to him sitting there just with a fistful of fries, not knowing where they came from, or just like that's his help to the group is just eating, and then his
Yeah.
problem afterwards is saying he's hungry.
That or he found a rat trap that had a block of cheese on it or something to explain where the food came from.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of him fighting with a mousetrap for food.
It it would not necessarily be a good thing to remind you of, but it would remind you of Jacob in one of the parodies. I don't know which one. Is it the Breaking Wind, where Jacob is just eating in every scene?
Eating in every scene.
Oh
Yeah, that's
yeah, with the
breaking
different
one.
food around the fire.
Yeah, they could have done that with Billy, and I think I would have been a little more okay with the fries uh, in the montage and then him being hungry immediately afterwards.
Yes, it was played more into the humor.
I do like how they explain not telling the dad in air quotes about what book they're looking for. Of just a daughter trying not to over explain something to a father. Just makes sense to me.
I think that's fine. It also helps into not telling quote unquote the turkey what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
without
there's a couple
foretelling,
reasons
but it
it's
also
okay.
makes sense. Right, Sprinks, you can go.
So, did Billy get so hungry that he hallucinated a cooked turkey was outside in the grass?
That is what I have to believe.
And it
I don't
wasn't the
think
turkey being like, haha, sucker, and going out of frame, and the turkey had some kind of magical ability to look like that.
that's what I was about to say. Without the backstory of the turkey establishing he has any powers outside of immortality and I guess talking, I'm not going to apply any magic powers to it. So I think he really is just hallucinating food.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
And the
also.
hallucination food is Billy fully swallowing the turkey with a gun as well, which could be in that cartoon pocket of his, into his stomach.
As absurd as it is, yes.
Okay. One thing that could have helped me a lot with it to be far more believable is when they come up to Billy's body if his back was blown out to
That
show
would
that
be
the
good.
turkey like shot through him and was never in his belly.
Yeah, because they play it off like it was in him though. Like his stomach rumbles, he
Yes.
looks down, and then bang.
No, I think the movie really is he ate the turkey and the turkey blasted its way out. But showing the back of Billy when he's on the grass when they find him, the back of him is completely fine. Like his shirt isn't bloody or torn or messed. It's just like normal in the back.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how I would prefer the scene. Because just conceptually alone, him swallowing a full turkey is nonsense. Absolutely
Yeah.
absurd.
No, full agreement.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that conversation really, other than I agree with it. I think obviously it's very cartoonish with the way that he swallowed, because obviously you're right. I think the intention of the scene is just that turkey was inside of his chest and blasted his way out. But I think if you already gave the fix for it, so
Yeah, it could have been, looking down at his stomach, growling to think something's in it, but he could just lean and just, whisper like, "I'm so hungry," so it's just stomach growls, and then the blowout of the shot. So there's a workaround to make it work where the expectation they're trying to get across can still come across the same way, but more of a realistic approach of what actually happened. But they didn't do that.
Yeah, and it certainly would be better. Uh, do you guys think the turkey knows how it can get disposed of?
No. Which is stupid if it knows how to drive a car, but doesn't know how it's defeated or its weaknesses. Then again, it brings up why was it dormant? What put it to sleep to begin with?
I mean, I would imagine the spell or whatever put him to sleep. The thing that he plays off to me that he doesn't know how he can be defeated, but the thing that counters that to me is why does he keep the talisman then if that can be used to
Yeah,
kill
they
him?
take the talisman, he
He
doesn't
must know it's
care.
important.
They start saying the spell, he doesn't care. He thinks it's a joke.
Because the talisman, first we see it is just exposed on the dirt. So he could have just killed the dog and left if he didn't care about the talisman. He had to have taken it with him, which implies he has some sort of knowledge of importance to it. But then he plays it off later that he doesn't seem to know anything regarding it.
And I did not get the sense that it was like reverse psychology that he's doing.
I agree. I think he was dead serious about it. I can't die.
yeah, I
What do you
never
think, Brandon?
I didn't have the sense of pure overconfidence in the scene. It comes across as ignorance.
So you're in the belief that he doesn't know how he can be disposed of either.
Yeah. I I think it's a hard line to walk because you don't want. He could be trying to bluff his way through it, but obviously you're limited with you're limited on your acting range with the turkey. If, for example, it's if the turkey like was trying to pretend that he, like that he had no weaknesses, even though he knew that that was his weakness. I think there was a way they could probably portray that, but I'm not sure because obviously this isn't like a ILM level puppet. So
I'd say, I mean, that's a possible route, but I'm going with the more probable route of he's just not knowledgeable on it.
Yeah, he's naive.
yeah, no, that's where I am at as well.
Do you
All
think
right.
in this town that they drive to that Kristen's dad, the sheriff, is the only cop?
Not likely, but we
Because
don't really get a full scale.
I don't understand how they have cell phones, even just flip phones. They still have cell phones, and no one's calling 911.
Couldn't tell you.
Like Daren is
My
holding
best,
Billy's as his guts are hanging out, saying it'll be fine. You're gonna be okay. No worries. And there's no help is on the way or an attempt.
Everyone just stands
my
there and watches sadly.
best defense is that they're all stupid. An established character trait that even the turkey acknowledges. He calls them all something, and that's my answer. They're all
Yeah,
stupid.
I'm like if they're trying. I wish again another line. If they're trying to get that the father daughter dance thing or whatever at the station, which I think is what the dad was trying to get across, is happening that night, then calling them, Kristen could be like, "Oh, it's no use because all the police aren't on patrol because of this," or they call and someone picks up and says, "Hey, we're at the dance," or something like that to excuse it,
Well, I mean, they would be calling a
even though
911
Stilly
dispatcher
would.
for an ambulance, not necessarily the sheriff's department. Though the sheriff's department would show up.
True, but like that, I'm just saying that excuse of a line or written in could come across, even though stupid and silly, would still give a reason to why they're not doing it, or not that they're not calling, but a reason why no one would show up, because then that goes into like the budget and they'd need like cop car and all that. But to be like, why, if they attempted to be smart, why it wouldn't happen?
Yeah, because I don't think they could do the, oh, our phones don't have signal. Because I mean, one, that's cliche, and two, I think they'd have to explain that. And the best way to do that is the turkey powers, but we don't have any turkey powers established, and the turkey doesn't know what phones are. So they, yeah, it's an absence. Writer.
Sure. I will jump to. Well, it's not really a jump to, but I guess we're going back a little bit. But the reveal of the turkey like had is over Kristen's dad's body. We're talking about Kristen's lack of reaction, but the it is such a poorly like shot scene to kind of hide the fact of Billy making a grab for him and them trying to quickly read through like trying to quickly decode the spell, uh, and then the turkey getting away. Not
Yeah, someone
really.
could help Billy.
Yeah, someone could not only could someone help Billy, but they also could. It just wasn't shot well because I couldn't tell what was happening even though I understood what was happening. I guess is that would be how I phrase it.
Also, did they have to walk by his body to get to the books?
No,
Don't
they
think
didn't.
so.
I don't think they had to go through the kitchen to get to the garage.
Okay.
Also,
But I
Lucky
agree. The way they
Turkey
filmed
is
everything is very sloppy there.
yeah. Also, Lucky Turkey isn't just listening into their conversation and figuring out that they're trying to figure out a way to kill him.
I mean, he is very
Again,
arrogant and full of himself. He
yeah, the
thinks he's
defense.
immortal, so maybe he doesn't care.
True, there is that
Could be.
element.
Springs.
The TP the turkey's in is a Wizarding World TP, where it's much bigger on the inside than the outside.
Okay, I was like, they didn't even have any stuff for that yet in Orlando. No, I get the point. Yes, it is. And is this supposed to be a 500-year-old teepee? Because we know the turkey wasn't buried in the teepee or anything.
I don't necessarily think it needs to be the exact same TP. It's just every house the turkey takes up is a TP.
That's weird. Then we have to ask, how does it find it? Because even the kids are like, well, how many teepees could there possibly be?
Well, I think the turkey just made it. I don't think the TP's around all the time. It's just like when the turkey needs to make a home for itself, it makes a teepee.
Yeah, it's whenever you need to set a fast travel point.
All right, so yeah, found the materials and just
That's what I think.
It's
But
probably what.
it is a magical TP with its size.
Yeah, I would say the TP is definitely magical, but it's also perfectly possible that Turkey built it.
and then the same issue I had with the turkey, I have with the kids of just finding the teepee.
Convenience for the time of the story.
Yeah, I mean that could have taken hours, but it seems like it went really
It
quick.
also could have taken them hours to find Billy's body.
That was also another thing I wrote. Is lucky they found him. The benefit being he was walking distance, so he couldn't have really gotten too far.
He also
True,
could have
but
been
what if they
walking.
drove the other direction?
He also could have been walking back to his house. Though I wish they were more clear about, like, he's like,
So that one,
you could, because the clear one, because like, I'm just going home. Then they could just follow the path towards his home.
You could have said, yeah, that would have helped. It was just Daren say, go outside and find something to eat.
maybe that's the only direction food is. I don't know. I find finding the teepee more egregious than finding Billy, because Billy has a wider net or a smaller net of where he could have gone. But they're both convenient regardless.
Yes, both can be regardless. I do find it funny that like they're talking and making their plan to capture Turkey outside the teepee, which is not a soundproof wall.
True.
And then obviously with we see
Well, the turkey's
Turkey,
too busy making a salad.
yeah, we see him feasting on food, but we also hear him playing music because I think that music is in world for the turkey.
Yes, I think the turkey has a, was it stereograph? Get the,
Uh,
I'm close.
Gramophone?
Gramophone, is that it?
Maybe. I didn't see any
Record
music
player.
device.
Yeah, there's nothing in the
Okay, yeah,
I think
TP,
the
but
turkey
probably
has
it's
gramophone.
kind of implied that it's in world with how loud the music is inside the TP and just how quiet it is right outside. It's just funny a little. It's the editing is not very clear about it.
I did find it amusing how Johnny's always prepared. I would like to also point out I would hardly call that rope. I would call that
Yeah, that's
strength.
string, that's not rope. Made me question how the turkey got out of it, but which I wish they added a sound effect then into that of like just a rope snap rather than the turkey just running away.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
Do you think Johnny, it's within Johnny's character to have Darren do the physical part?
Sure.
Because I just feel like Johnny's Mr. Jock. He shows the gun show at the church the school in the beginning. So I feel like he would take on the physical task of restraining it, unless
Yeah, but I
cowardice is part of his thing, and
like I
he's
well,
said,
too
he
worried
didn't
about it.
help Billy when they were in the kitchen, and it does seem like Johnny wants everyone else to do it.
it feels like Darren would still volunteer though, because he's Billy is his friend, or at least whether or not we agree that hallucinations are real, Darren thinks that Billy is his friend. So I'm fine with Darren being the one to do it because he would have more grounds to say no. I want to be the one to do this.
Sure, but Darren didn't volunteer. Johnny told him to do it, and then he kind of manipulated him,
Yeah,
saying,
he's like, "So
"You
I'm
want
doing
revenge for Billy,
everything."
don't you?"
Yeah, which is one of the things that undercuts the film a little bit, but
But I guess on the topic of the flashbacks with Billy as a friend, we can, I guess, now definitively state our positions on if it's real or not. Sprinks, I guess you can start with it.
I think it's fake. I think it's Darren's head.
His perception of the friendship that may not have
Yes.
been.
Yeah.
All right, Ryder.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Not to cop out. Um, I can definitely see an aspect where it's in his head, but I feel like if it's in his head, they should have been more explicit about that in the film. And it also does contradict the a few character moments between Billy and Daren that does imply that they've had a friendship for a while. If it is true that it isn't like a real thing. So I'm kind of 50-50. I can see both interpretations. Both come with their own set of flaws.
I don't see the introduction of Darren with Billy and the whole campfire thing being the friendship that we see in the flashbacks that Darren thinks up of being the same, where the flashbacks were prior. It seems like they were acquaintances and know of each other, and Darren's taken this a whole new level because Billy's possibly his only friend.
Which kind of leads into kind of how I view it. I think these events happened in air quotes, but he's exaggerating them in his mind. Like maybe they did go to a park, but maybe they didn't swing together all happy. Like,
Or
um,
they both went out for ice cream, but
so
they didn't feed each other the ice cream.
yeah. So I kind of am picturing him fantasizing or um, what's the
Exaggerating?
exaggerating? Yeah, the events. Um, but I do believe some aspect of them transpired because I agree with you, Sprinks. They don't portray their friendship as being like that
Yeah.
at all in the movie.
Or at least Billy doesn't. I can believe
Yes.
that Darren still thinks Billy this way this whole way. I don't see Billy being what Darren thought he is at in those flashbacks to Billy throughout the movie, how he acts to Darren.
Yeah, which goes into the angle where I do think Billy's kind of showing off to the others. Like, see, I'm not the loser. Like bringing Darren as the kind of the thing to make fun of and not himself. So I guess my stance is it's real but exaggerated. Right. Let's go with a Sprinks point.
Let's see here. After Billy passes away, or they're done with Billy and they drive away, Darren no longer has needs for his glasses.
He's evolved from nerd to warrior. But you're right, they don't come back. Which I guess is a continuity. Did he just leave them at Billy's body?
I don't know because it shows Billy his body, which might be a reverse shot of just from them driving up to the body to then quote unquote driving away from the body, just reversed it because the quality looks the same in both. But it just goes to like I think a fade of Darren looking out the window and he no longer has his glasses on in the Jeep. And then he doesn't have his glasses for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Well, actually, I was gonna say at least the benefit is he doesn't read anything. He does. He reads the
He
spell.
does.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just for show.
Ah,
But I
that
don't
is a
think he's
problem.
the type of character that would wear fake glasses.
I don't think he would if he's trying to be cool in front
Yeah.
of everyone on this camping trip. Not to
Hmm.
say glasses aren't cool. That's not what I mean.
We're talking with the stereotypes portrayed in film. Typically, they are mocked. But in reality, glasses are very much cool. I mean, what's I'm blanking on his name from Vox Machina, the guy with the guns. He's pretty
Percy.
cool with his glasses. Percy, he's pretty cool with glasses.
Yeah, I love Percy. Uh, I think I'm pretty cool with glasses, but that's just me.
Oh, there you go. All right, writer.
uh, I found it weird they just don't follow through with the rest of the ritual. they're kind
It
it,
is
it
strange.
it felt like they were making up excuses to not follow through with the ritual, and I guess that's why I have an issue with it. Because
They thought
they,
the turkey was dead.
yeah, but I don't. In this case, it's uh, with how paranoid they've been at this rate and how like much the turkey has affected their lives. I feel like they would just follow through with it anyway, just to be sure,
If they were smart.
if they
Well, that
were
is a
smart.
great counter.
Yeah, unfortunately, Oscar's there, so I don't understand why he
Yeah,
doesn't.
he found them.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, convenient that he shows up, but also I don't understand why Oscar wouldn't buy into it at least a little bit.
Well,
Well,
Oscar
Oscar
doesn't
doesn't
know.
know
Oscar doesn't
about the
know,
ritual and
but they
everything. He
explained to
just goes,
him.
"Oh, I shot the turkey and the turkey's dead."
Well, yeah, they explained to him that we need to burn it on a stake, and he's like, I can assure you it's dead. So he pushes back on that. So he knows that there is something else that the kids are trying to do.
He has no reason to believe them, though,
Yeah.
like that they
And you
have
know
any
what?
special knowledge.
I think Oscar's not that smart either.
No.
It's
Would you say
just,
he's smarter than the kids?
I don't know because the kids have more screen time so we can see how dumb they are.
I mean, he tracks them down, which is some, or at least the turkey, uh, some level of intelligence there. And I guess that's the bulk of his character. He protects them overnight at the campsite. So he
With whatever that
finds them
means.
there. Yeah, sitting on a stump with his gun. I don't know.
ever the watchful man.
But other than just ignoring that they're stupid, I do find it strange because even when describing how to dispatch them, it's read the spell backwards, fire stake, all that. It wasn't established that the words would make him mortal until after they did the spell, and they're like, he's mortal now, which kind of is an absence of information that was not present originally.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that they would have made again, make it more explicit.
Well, that line there is to excuse their stupidity of seeing it get shot, because now they're like, oh, he's mortal. A shotgun would kill a turkey. That line is there to give an excuse.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The line to bolster more that these people do not care much about each other is when Johnny says, well, he's dead when Billy leaves. No care at all, no emotion, doesn't try to chase down Billy, he's just accepting he's dead now without
No, and
trying.
it's not. Yes, it's the joke, but they know Allie's dead and the turkey's real now. So it is real lack of empathy onto his friend. Versus if they didn't know anyone was dead yet to play it off.
Yeah, I feel
Absolutely.
like I feel like there's parts of this film that should have leaned more into parody, because there are times where this movie takes itself probably a little bit too seriously. Because I think that line would have worked better if this was strictly a parody of horror movies.
I don't. It's hard to say. Well, like, what are scenes you would say they took themselves seriously on?
I mean, well, I'm going to clarify. I think they tried to take themselves seriously on.
I think the attempt in the movie is trying to be serious.
I don't. I don't believe that. I definitely think they are very aware of what they're making, but I think their skills can waver. Like the shot of the moon, I think they probably would want a clean-looking moon for the transition, but their skills did not match their ambition.
Oh, I'm sure they want this movie to look as good as they can, but with what they have, it's as good as they could. But I still think everything of their point of making the film is as serious to what they want. The funny thing is, like, the turkey's personality and everything is funny, but I think it's seriously made that that is the character of the turkey that they're putting to screen.
Yeah, they're not just randomly throwing stuff on screen. There is intent behind the creation. Yeah, unless you find the like radioactive container and write that into your script.
Well, they did, which then
I
goes
know.
into I don't know why Johnny would know about radioactive waste.
He's a comic book guy.
Nope.
No, I mean the
Of the
way he
group, Johnny
says
would be
it.
the least comic book guy.
No, you're right.
which could be
Based
played
on
into a good
archetype,
joke. But
yes.
The way he kind of delivers the line, it sounds like he's being jokey, not like it's actual info he knows of. Like, well, if it gets radioactive, he'll come back.
yeah. See, what would be a funny joke to play into that is if he points at the turkey or actually it would be funnier if it's Daren because it would fit Daren more. If he points at the turkey and goes, "Oh my God, he's a Green Lantern."
I don't think they could afford to make the reference.
I don't think they would have if they had to get the rights for it. Yes, but
You can just say he's the green lamp, but everyone would know what he's talking about. Knockoff lantern.
yeah. Or he reminds me
Uh,
of Mr. Jordan or something like that.
hmm. Sprinks, you can make a point.
Oh boy. Hey, when Johnny has the carver in his gut, and Kristen's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll take care of you." How about take him to a hospital and not a shed?
No, she wants him to die.
Ah,
They want her to be the survivor. So
And we haven't been established that she knows how to drive. So
you know what got me there?
that is also, I
Oh,
guess,
we
good
have
enough.
established she knows how to call on a cell phone.
well, I would say that's one and the same though.
Calling an ambulance?
Oh, that yeah. I mean, we kind of talked that with
Like
Billy
she can call
about calling
help.
an ambulance.
But
No, I mean, you're right.
also,
Right.
oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Nope. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was just gonna go to another one when she swings, I guess, the bat at the turkey. Bad slow mo.
That was bad slow mo, and the turkey revealing itself, taking off the dad's mask slow mo was bad.
Yep,
Yes.
both.
Also, the TP that teleported. I'm sorry, not TP, but the pyre that was just perfectly made.
I was just there.
I didn't know why that was there.
I
Yeah.
I think Oscar made it. I don't have any other explanation as to why it's there.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know why Oscar would make it. It's just in Kristen's backyard.
It's just there for the end of the movie.
Why the hell was Oscar there?
To be there at the end of the movie.
Yeah, Oscar's just there.
Oscar exists. Okay. I do.
Also, oh, go.
One of the things I'll quickly jump back to is the when Oscar starts saying, "Hey, when you have a dead wife, dead parents, and a dead dog, come talk to me." And I like the look that Johnny and Christine give him because their parents are dead.
Oh no, that was an interesting line. Just like giving examples of like if you have a dead one of these, um, and it actually went to each member of that group in some form.
Yeah, that was pretty clever. I liked that. There's humor that
Yeah,
worked for me.
it was amusing. It makes you were gonna add on something or other.
Yeah, Kristen eating the turkey leg. First off, not a turkey leg,
Radioactive.
and yeah, it would still be radioactive.
Also,
Radioactive,
is the leg
radioactive.
missing at the end scene at the table?
I don't think that's the same turkey.
You think he just possessed a different
I think he
turkey?
possessed a different turkey,
I think he had to possess a different turkey. Yeah.
but I don't know why he possessed a fully cooked turkey.
Maybe that was just the nearest turkey.
Possibly.
Okay, I can buy him possessing it, I suppose.
Yeah, I do not think the turkey that was thrown in the pyre that's missing a leg is now on some random family's table.
Well, that was a complaint I had in my notes. Was that doesn't make sense? But if we're going with I mean, they don't even establish he can possess other turkeys, so even that's a stretch because they don't set that up. But
Well,
I can
Darren
buy it.
did say if we don't stick to the ritual, we don't know what will happen, and they don't fully stick to it.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't get staked to a pyre, was thrown onto a pile of
Yeah.
sticks.
So they didn't know, the consequences of what could occur if it's not to what the book says.
How'd you guys like the song for the Billy flashback? I know I keep coming back to that area, but
It is an original.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's describing the friendship and his death, and poorly sung, but fits the situation.
Fits the movie, fits the tone, fits the situation. That's all you need from me.
It's okay.
Point from you, Ryder?
Sure. When back in the house, when Christine and Johnny are talking about their respective tragedies briefly to each other, and they're about to kiss. Um, again, I just wish I had more acting from them because that was a good trauma bonding attempt moment that they could have had. Um,
Yeah, and the scene where shortly after when Darren's there, that they start like making out and stuff. I was borderline thinking that was damaging to Kristen because she's been very like aware of Darren and kind of on his side and stuff. And after the whole monologue of "I found a girlfriend and love," and Darren's just sitting there like, "Well, I got nothing out of this." It's just, I don't know. It seemed a little out of her to me.
I could sort of see that. I do like that Darren just kind of awkwardly leaves when they start having a good time.
And then they fall asleep like 2 minutes later because Darren's getting killed in the kitchen. Cut back to them, and they're just sleeping on the couch.
Darren is yelling, screaming even.
Yeah, I don't think that was very well executed.
No, definitely not. They wake up to the sounds of Turkey laughing, which is shame they didn't wake up before then.
But good on Darren. I think he had a pretty dignified death. Why won't you die? Wasn't him running away or anything. He was facing it.
Yeah, Darren was brave enough to face it down, and then Billy came to get him to lead him to the pearly gates.
I did like that.
Yeah.
Was that real or his imagination?
Either way, he died happy. Er,
There's no turkeys over here.
yeah,
That Sprinks you.
I don't think they would let us celebrate Thanksgiving in heaven. That would be, I think, poor taste.
Sprinks you.
Oh, shoot. Um, quite frankly, I'm out.
All right, I got a 2 points left I can work with.
All right. Shoot one out.
Uh, the one of the smart things that I really appreciated was the fact that Johnny left the knife in him in order to help stem the bleeding. He still bleeds out and dies, but that would technically buy you more time.
Yeah, good on Johnny. Um, I guess the point I'll go with is the end of Do I Smell a Sequel? On my research hunt, they did not have a sequel planned after this. Obviously, they end up making a sequel, but at the making of this, they were not expecting to make another one.
Oh, so the to be continued was not planned for anything after? It was just them
Nope.
saying our story isn't done, but not knowing?
The universe is still open, things are going, but it was not in their plans to continue anything.
Ooh, that makes matters worse.
Uh, all right. Right, I guess your last one.
All right. Um, I do like the idea of using the flaming turkey, or to the flamethrower with the turkey to kind of quote unquote roast it. Um, it's just for me that's just kind of an inside joke thing. So, uh, quite like it just made me smirk, and obviously it leads to
Yeah.
you know the turkey being the kindling for the pyre that it's going to be burned on.
My feathers are melting. Ah! I liked how he was like annoyed of dying.
Yeah.
It was all
Like
new.
an inconvenience. Yeah. I guess my last point is I did find the thermometer in the rear amusing, saying that he's done. Kind of funny.
Yeah, but why the heck did it jack up?
I mean, that kind of goes more towards the cartoony angle that we've kind of been talking about. Actually, that was a cartoon sound effect of the ding
It was.
when it did that. So, but realistically, yeah, I wouldn't wouldn't do that. But I found that amusing thing because they got the thermometer, they got the electric knife or saw, whatever we call it. The, there's no turkey baster that they use, right? In
Nope.
this, no, so that's kind of an absent thing to use. Maybe they use that in the next movie.
Let's see. What did they reference that was Thanksgiving related? They had cranberry sauce. That's usually Thanksgiving related. They referenced gravy. It's usually around for
They
the
mentioned
potatoes.
stuffing.
They did mention stuffing.
Pumpkin pie.
I didn't hear the pumpkin pie line. Okay, good.
No more pumpkin pie. No more cranberry sauce.
Yeah, I tried to forget that scene. Um,
So they covered a lot of the bases.
okay, yeah, good. Thumbs up.
No green bean casserole.
Yeah, none of that. No Hawaiian rolls.
Oh, I think rolls are a thing. I don't know if Hawaiian rolls are necessarily. I mean,
Yeah,
Staple around my family
it's
that
just
I have
rolls
at
that
every
are
house.
the reference, I suppose.
yeah, dinner rolls.
All right. Well, with that, any other points that have popped up in mind?
None from me.
Only one I really have left is why does Daren keep like wiping spit on his face? All I really got is like that's just like the stereotype to pull across, like come across that he's like a lame wastoid kind of guy, but
I mean, I think that's the intent. I kind of like that they have a character thing because I haven't really seen characters have that kind of tick. I guess of just like wiping their mouth of slobber or just wiping their mouth. So it's kind of an interesting thing just to add as a character tick. But practicality purposes, I do think it's to fit the stereotype role that you said.
okay.
What do you think, Ryder?
You took all the words out of my mouth. It's pretty much. I think it's there for the stereotype. It fits the
All
stereotype.
right. Then with that, we will move into summary ratings. And I started with Ryder was the first point, so we'll go with Sprinks.
Oh, I'm going for great. All right, let's start with my objective. This movie has bad acting, it has bad lighting, it has bad cinematography, it has bad did I say writing already? Um, it has bad editing, it has bad transitions. Um, what have I missed? Costume design's fine. They stick in the same costumes, but if the day's changed, I don't know why the clothes aren't changing. There are continuity fixes that they go through with their shots that they include. There are a structured plot of the kids' side of taking care of the turkey. There is humor in different forms for jokes, whether nonsense, setup. Well, actually, there isn't really a setup payoff joke. Reference jokes, um, visual jokes. I think they do different forms of that. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Right now, I have this movie at an objective 2. It could be worse, is how I'm thinking of it, but it
Ooh.
is pretty poorly made. Subjectively, when I finished this movie, I had it matched at a 2, but I am now at a 2.5 because the reason I'm bumping it up subjectively is because I have been in the same boat of making a student film or low budget film myself to try to make it come across as good as you can. And I have respect towards them into trying to create that. But it is still pretty darn bad.
Fair enough. I mean, that makes sense to me. Ryder, you can go now.
All right, this will be an interesting one. I'll do my subjective first, as I do. Um, I think I didn't have as much fun with this as I thought I would. It's a B movie. It definitely student filmy. I think Sprinks is right about that. Um, it feels like students having like their first real attempt at trying to make something that's movie length with very very low budget and just trying to do the best they can with what they have. That being said, I think Turkey pretty much having the same personality as Freddy Krueger, I think did a lot for me. So it's not uh, didn't feel like stealing. Turkey is enough of his own character for just his personality to be more of an homage to how Freddy Krueger tends to act. Um, the humor is hit and miss. I didn't necessarily find the humor to be particularly funny to me. There's a couple times where I smirked. The main one being just with turkey dressed as human and human dressed as a turkey. Um, but subjectively, I think I've been bouncing between a 3 and a 3.5. I think I've settled on a 3. Um, it's not as bad as it could be to take a point from Sprinks. Um, Objectively, um, since this is primarily writing focused, I think the world building is a mess. They got the years wrong. Don't really know why the turkey woke up early. Don't know why he uh, don't know why he woke up early. Don't know why it wasn't 500 years. Don't know why people treat a turkey as normal. Don't know why he can drive. Don't know why uh,
He knows where they live.
he knows where they live. There's a lot of world building problems in that sense with the turkey. A lot of that can be fixed with curse, etc. Because you can explain away a few things with that. You could play around with turkey trying to be in the new world. So there's a lot of potential here. Um, but no, they don't really do that. So world building I think is a mess. The parts of it that I think do work is the surface level stuff, being like the history that Daren gives for our understanding. Like if we take everything at face value without thinking about it, that surface level stuff tends to kind of work. But overall, I would probably lean towards it being a mess. Um, Plot uh, definitely facilitated on Turkey needing to play with his food quite a bit. So I would attach plot armor to characters in that regard because I think it happens a little too much. Again, plot is pushed forward by Turkey being able to drive, Turkey somehow knowing where people are, somehow uh, teleporting and finding the kids out in the woods just randomly on some random night. But it, that being said, given all that, um, there's also problems that crop up in just with how the characters decide to meander around things. Like everyone's stopping at Billy's house for some reason when they could be, why stop? They need to go get Allie. So it just comes there's and we kind of tackled how that's would be something wrong with that in every angle, but it's an issue in the plot that they just happen to stop there. Um, Maybe there's some slight issues with pacing. I would say, but I would say that's predominantly. I think pacing is mostly okay. The big standout bits being just the introduction to Oscar being just thrown in. Um, I would also say that maybe the death of Johnny's parents is too quick. Um, and the yeah, it's just yeah. So plot's not as much of a mess, but still uh, has its problems with just how the turkey needs to get to places in order to facilitate stuff that's going on. They tack on. I guess this is a world building thing. They tack on that the spell takes away his immortality without establishing it sooner than when they read off the spell. And I guess that would leave the characters. I don't think any characters outright contradictory to themselves. There's a few. Um, Everyone's really stupid, and that is pretty much what the plot relies on. Is that every character is very stupid, but in that regard, I think they accomplished what they were going for. So if everyone just has the stupid character trick tacked on, it's annoying, but it's not necessarily inconsistent with itself. Um, I would say uh, the nicks that go in there is how undefined Johnny and Billy's friendship is. I'm sorry, Billy and Darren's friendship is. Given the big flashback sequence that we get, I think they need to define that a bit more because I think the intention of that scene is they're supposed to be friends, despite everything that's been going on before. So yeah, he could be hallucinating. Where that was one of our theories that we threw around, or Springs predominantly threw around. Um, and I think if that were true, that would need to be set up a little bit more. Though I'm not opposed to him like exaggerating what actually happened. Um, so for Daren, I would say his nicks mostly come in the form of his bouncing off of other characters. Uh, Billy is again, mind you, it's going to restate. They're all archetypal. I think Christine is probably the only character I take the least amount of issues with. The main one being like she would probably notice the height difference with her father. Um, but again, that falls under just the stupid category for the characters. So I'm objectively, I think, hovering between a 3.5 and a 4. I might err on a 3. Um, it's not as bad as it could have been. The characters aren't like breaking onto themselves. And while the world building and plot do present problems, I think I've seen worse with characters uh, damaging themselves repeatedly over the foot and being inconsistent with themselves to, you know, stuff that's happened before. Um, one of the big things that really saves the characters is just the fact that the intention is that they are all to be stupid, and that is a form of plot armor in the other direction. Um, but it's very much, I think, the objective of the writers.
So you give 2 3s?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Alrighty, then I guess I am up. I will use my subjective first. My score has changed from going into this, not in the podcast, but just for a rewatch from the last time I saw it in its entirety. I enjoyed a little bit less than I once did. I think it has power being a one timer. Uh, I think it kind of loses its strength once you kind of know everything about it. I have it at a 5. I still enjoy it to a degree. There is stuff I find funny, stuff I don't find funny. I tend to like not absurdist comedy, but I tend to like comedy that pushes areas that a lot of people might be afraid to push. Um, so some of that was in this, and I enjoyed it. The and yeah, I like the turkey. I think the turkey is pretty darn funny. Objectively, this is a toughie. I went back to all my low rated stuff, and it's still hard for me to pinpoint because I always try to take into consideration the intent of the film. We've talked about it on recaps before. Uh, Intent of the film itself, not necessarily stuff within the film. Like if a author wrote a character as stern and then the movie came out and then later they're like, no, they're supposed to be a happy go lucky person. I'm like, no, and you're just changing it. That's not what you did. But if they're like, I wanted this to be a serious movie and it came out wrong, then I'd be like, okay, then you just screwed up. Anyways, in this, I do think they intended to make their vision of the film, and I think that vision is a cheesy cornball film. I think they achieved that. But with that, I still still think you have to maintain a certain level of continuity and consistency, and that is something I don't think they succeed in. Um, because it is kind of like a school film, there's a lot of issues. I don't take into account budgets, and I've stated that in the past. I look at the final product. Looking at this final product, there's a lot not good about it. The lighting is bad. We didn't really talk about it, but when they went out of the car, there's like a spotlight on them. Not the headlights of the car, but it's from the side view of the car. It's horrible. Uh, the visual effects, uh, the blood of the head looks bad. Uh, they didn't use that many visual effects. It's a lot of practical stuff. And the turkey, I think, is decent. The murders are decent, I guess. Uh, like Johnny's dad dying, they tried to cover that up real quick because that didn't look amazing. But the mom's death, standing there with like the eye stitched or something, looked fine. I think that's the strength of this movie is the practical side of things. The characters are mm, semi-consistent. I think Johnny has bounced around his archetype of being the tough jock, but he kind of just pushes responsibility onto others. Billy's relationship with Daren is inconsistent. I mean, that was one of a debate that kept coming up on different instances of like, what's their dynamic? Because they don't well establish it because they trip up on it. I'll agree with everything Ryder said about the turkey's world building and its implementations. If the backstory of the turkey involved him having powers beyond just immortality, I think it could excuse away some stuff, but they don't, so it causes those issues to stand forward. I looked at all my lowest being Jurassic World Dominion, Velma season one, and shoot, what was the other one? There was another one. Oh, Edge of History, the National Treasure show. And looking at that, I think those are all better made than this. So I'm having this at a 2, objectively. Mostly propped up by the practical effects and the plot somewhat being consistent. There's a lot of teleporting. How does the turkey know where they are? Where do they know where Billy is or the TP? Lots of stuff. So I'm at a 2.
Okie dokie.
Well, alrighty then. Gentlemen, shall I read us out?
I
Yeah,
think
I'm good to go.
so.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, audience, for listening, whether it be Spotify, Amazon, Castbox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, and Samsung. And if it be our visual side of things, be it YouTube or Rumble. Thank you for watching our PNG YouTuber slideshow there. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe everywhere. Tell us how much you hate our opinions or how much you love them. And as always, I've been a geeky writer,
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Springs.
and we will catch you next time. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.